Everyone, this is Coder Singh, and in this tutorial I'm going to talk about Swagger and Swagger with JsDocs. So I'm going to do npm init real quick, npm init -y. I'm going to do npm I express for the express server, Swagger, I would say Swagger UI express, and I'm going to have a Swagger JsDocs, I'm sorry, last express basic auth. So express is for the server, so Swagger UI is to show the UI for the Swagger UI. Swagger JsDocs is to connect the Swagger UI with the JsDocs, and express basic auth is to protect the Swagger UI to only the developers we want. So what I'm going to do is code dot. I'm going to open it in VS Code. I'm gonna quickly, actually let's keep it this way. I'm gonna create a new file, index.js. I'm gonna do const express is equals to require express. So I've basically imported all these things. So this main tutorial is basically about the Swagger thing. That's why I'm using JavaScript. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with it. It's just that I highly recommend people, even for small projects, to use TypeScript, because you might not know a small project might be a big one. So I'm just creating Express app. So I'm going to do app.get, and I'm going to do we don't need that thing, so let's, we need this thing, request res dot send is gonna say hello app.listen. You're gonna go for port 8082, and you're gonna have a callback console log server is running on port 8082. So let's quickly run this app. I'm going to do node index.js. Service running on 8082. So let's go to the browser. Let's go for localhost 8082, and I get the hello over here. So it is a very small API, but let's suppose you have thousands of APIs and you have a lot of type of data which you want in different APIs and all those things, and you want to convey this to your front-end developer. So it becomes very hard to convey with them, and especially when you have big teams like six, 7 people working in back-end, 6, 7 people working in front-end. The communication is not that good because maybe you're on different floors, different region because of COVID right now, or whatever it can be. So Swagger is basically helps us to build a documentation type of thing for the API. It's just like Postman, but Postman is paid. Paid in the sense like you cannot collaborate and work with it. If you want to collaborate and work, you have to pay Postman. But yeah, if you can afford Postman, then I would highly recommend Postman. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Swagger right now. So it's like get data, get some data, and it's gonna have same thing, same params, and it's gonna be like, so in get data, I wanna, it's one of the, I'm gonna pass like, let's suppose page number. Let's suppose if it's a pagination, page length, page length, request.query. It's everything is gonna come in that thing, and we're gonna return. We're gonna res.send request.query. So it is actually one of the APIs, and these all things are required. So page number, page length are to be an integer, a number. So how will you tell this thing to a front-end developer? You need to have a Swagger UI for it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a routes folder, routes, and I'm going to do app routes.js, and I'm gonna have router, an express router. So I'm gonna have const express require express const router express dot router dot get, I'm gonna copy paste it from here, get data, because usually in a real life world we have this thing in a different file, module.exports router. We're gonna import it like router instead of that thing, and we're gonna come over here, app.use API, and it's gonna be router. I'm gonna save it. We're gonna run it again, and we're gonna call this URL API get data name coder, and it's gonna give us name coder. That's pretty cool. But now how I just sent name coder, but what was required over there was page number and page length. So let's make the initial files to set up Swagger UI. So we're gonna have some options to it. Options can be like very basic. I'm gonna just copy paste it so that we can save some time. Title is gonna be like my APIs in Swagger, and we have versions, we have servers. So versions, servers, I'm gonna explain each and everything, don't worry. So APIs, it's gonna be like, it's an array, so we have to give the routes to it. So it's gonna be routes like routes routes slash all the files.js. We might have multiple files to it. So coming to the explanation, we come over here and we tell the Swagger definition about Open API. We're using Open API, the version this is, the info is like title, version is, the version of my APIs is 1, servers are like localhost 8082. Components, we have a security component. Usually you have JWT security components, so we're gonna have this thing for sure. So it's gonna be like just bearer auth, type is TP, schema bearer, bearer format, it's gonna be JWT security bearer auth, and we have the APIs in routes.js. So it's gonna take care of all these things. So it's gonna actually calling this folder and getting all the files, and it's gonna read all those things from there. So after doing this, we're gonna go to Swagger specs. We're gonna build Swagger specs like Swagger JsDocs, and we're gonna pass the options into it because these are options for Swagger JsDocs. And then we're gonna start app.use, we're gonna call API docs, and I'm gonna have Swagger UI.serve, Swagger UI.setup, Swagger specs. So That's it. And we're gonna do Control C, we're gonna node index, and we're gonna go to API docs. API docs, and here we are, my API in Swagger. This is the service we defined. It is for the authorization for the BR token. We're gonna talk about it in a while. So now let's start creating the JsDocs for it. So I'm gonna go to routes. I'm gonna do, I'm in VS Code, so it's gonna happen automatically for me. I'm gonna do star, star, and hit enter. So if you do star, star, hit enter, it's gonna do like this. And if you keep on hitting enter, it's gonna be, it's gonna indent itself and be like this. So now what we're gonna write is basically a YAML file, but in a JavaScript file, but in comments. So we're gonna have a Swagger. Swagger is to tell that this comment belongs to the Swagger API. So you can, the Swagger JsDocs should read this thing for sure. The tags is for, let's suppose the main data. There can be two APIs within main data. So if I want to group them up, description, this is for the main data, and so I'm gonna show you why I'm doing this. So API get data is the route for this thing, and it's a get method, and tags is main data, and I'm gonna have, let's suppose, parameters. So parameters are page number and page length. So parameters is an array. And how do you define an array in YAML? Is like with a dash sign, dash space. We're gonna have page number, and we're gonna tell it's actually type, sorry, schema type integer, and we can give a default value to it. Let's suppose the default value is 1. We're gonna save it. We're gonna restart the server, and let's refresh this page, and here we are. What do we get? We have page number, we have this thing, we have the, sorry, we're gonna do try it out, page number, we execute again, but it's not gonna work for sure. Why? Because we have to add responses. So responses, we can have responses of multiple kinds, like 200, 400, 404, but I'm gonna go for default because I don't want to cater all those responses. But instead of default, you can write 200, and it's gonna give you the response for sure. So description, this is the default response for it. So I go back, I just restart the server, and I do refresh, and I'm gonna do try it out, and I'm gonna do page number 1 and execute, and here we are. We're getting response body as, okay, we are not getting the response body yet because we need to specify it is in query parameters, otherwise it won't take you. So you have to, this is a required field in query, so you have to make sure that you write that thing up. Try it out, 1, and here we are, we're getting page number 1, and it is sending in the query field over here. And same, we can do this with page length, page length, page length should be 10 by default in query parameter. Let's suppose we want to make this thing required true. So we're going to do required equals to colon true, and we're going to restart the server. I think I should have added nodemon, but it's okay. And here we are, try it out, and boom, execute, and click on execute again, we change the values to, let's suppose 900, and we are getting the result. So now I can deploy this thing and give this URL to my front-end developer, and he can come over here and he can perform various activities. But our routes are protected with JWT token. So what to do in that case? So let's suppose we return, let's suppose this is the login route. We copy this thing and we're gonna create a login route for sure over here. Login request dot body, we're gonna have email, we're gonna have password, and we're gonna return const out. We're gonna return our token. This is JWT token. Keep it safe, and we're gonna return out the out variable. Again, we're gonna create this thing, Swagger. We're gonna copy this thing and we're gonna paste it over here. Swagger tags, again, it's gonna be main data, so we can group this thing. API, we're gonna change it to login. It's a post request. I'm just making sure. Yeah, it's a post request, and it doesn't need parameters. It's gonna take request body, so we're gonna change it to request body, and so we're gonna remove all these things. Request body will have request required is equals to true, and we're gonna have now content. It is of type application /JSON, and what type of schema we have. So we have to define a schema into it. The schema would be like type of object, and again we're gonna have properties of the schema, and it's gonna be username. Sorry, it's gonna be email. It's gonna be email of type string. We want it let's suppose we want default value to be there so that our front-end developer can easily access that thing. Let's suppose I want the default value to be coder, and I can do the same thing for my password. The default value for this thing, coder 123. I'm gonna save it, and yeah, let's fingers crossed, let's hope for the best. It's gonna run. Yeah, it is running, and here we have an API login. We are getting the coder 123. We can check the schema. It's like string of type string. We can have the description required and all those things. So I'm going to try that out. If I try it out, then I'm going to execute, and some internal server error I'm getting. app.use express.json. Yes, it's gonna convert body to JSON format. So I'm gonna execute this thing again, and here we are. I'm getting this token. I'm gonna copy this token from here, and I'm gonna go over here and go to authorize and paste the token, and then I'm going to click on authorize, and here I am. I'm logged in as the current user, and in any request I execute now we can see in authorize we are sending bearer JWT token. So that's it guys for this tutorial. If you want to learn more about Swagger API or anything, then do let me know. I'm really gonna help you out, maybe build a new tutorial or just guide you. Thank you so much guys for watching this tutorial, and please do like and subscribe my channel, like my videos, subscribe my channel, and if you really like it, then do comment. It really motivates me to make new content for you guys. And you can follow me on Instagram. I have Instagram account CoderSing, and you can follow me on Twitter. I have SingCoder on Twitter, Sometimes I keep on posting some stuff which is related to tech, and I think so you're gonna really enjoy that thing.